AI is a great tool to help speed up keyword research. It's a great tool to help the writing process. Let's say from a blog perspective, which is primarily where we use a lot of it, it really helps speed up the research side of things and it helps speed up the actual physical writing. But you still have to go back and make sure that it's structured correctly. You've got to make sure that you've got your internal links, your outbound links. You've got all the necessary H tags, H2, H3, H4, that kind of stuff.
You're listening to eCommerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company. Powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
This episode is brought to you by TDO, the highest rated live chat software on Shopify. Now, TDO helps Shopify merchants to gain and retain more customers with personalized shopping experiences. Now, with TDO, you can recommend products and offer discounts based on the user's behavior and their order history without leaving the chat widget. Now, TDO also takes the pressure off your support team, and the app really enables you to manage all of your communication channels from one dashboard, and literally it can automate up to 47% of your recurring questions. So it's pretty amazing with a great time saver. You can increase your customer satisfaction and sales with personalized shopping experiences. You'll learn more by visiting tdo.com/fastlane. That's TIDIO.com/fastlane. And there you can start a TDO Premium Edition with an exclusive discount for eCommerce Fastlane listeners only. So make sure you punch in the special code Fastlane when you check out. Well, welcome back to eCommerce Fastlane. I'm your host, Steve Hutt. With plenty of podcast choices, both for founders and marketers in e-commerce, retail, and the direct-to-consumer space, I massively appreciate that you're taking time and listening to the show today. I release new episodes. They come out twice weekly, and they're available from all of your favorite podcast apps like Apple, Spotify, and Google. We're also now on Amazon Music and YouTube, so if you consume any of your podcasts on those platforms, you might want to go check that out. Now, to get the full value of today's episode, you can click through from whatever podcast app you're using, and that will direct you over to the landing page at ecommercefastlane.com. And there you'll find the links and some of the resources that we're going to mention on today's episode. Now, today, my guest is Andrew Maff. He's the founder and CEO of a company called BlueTuskr, and he's also a host of a podcast, the incredible. I'll give you the links in a few minutes. But he's the full-service marketing company that helps Shopify brands to develop and execute these omnichannel marketing strategies across all sales channels. Guarantees a very timely episode. We're kind of pre-BFCM right now. This is going to be an excellent conversation about how brands can grow and scale during this really busy kind of Q4 season.
Beautiful. Really appreciate you having me on, buddy. Looking forward to this one. Let's do it.
Now, I mentioned it a bit at the top of the show, but can you briefly describe your marketing agency, BlueTuskr, and some of the problems that you're solving today for Shopify brands?
Yeah, happy to. So we are a full service digital marketing company for e-commerce sellers. We essentially help develop and execute on omnichannel strategies, whether it's, on Amazon or Walmart or Shopify or across obviously all channels. We basically act as like an outsourced marketing department. So our account strategists act as basically like fractional CMOs. All of our department heads act as fractional areas of their own department. So whether it's, an SEO expert or email or social or paid advertising, any of that stuff. So it's really an opportunity for us to work with sellers and be just as if we were their own embedded marketing department.
Let's talk a bit about the origin story in your career. Like, how did all the pieces come together with you and the founding team? Where did the desire and this kind of marketing experience and expertise come from?
Yeah. So I've been in e-commerce marketing for a little over 15 years now. It was one of the first jobs I got. And then I owned an agency in college, then went in-house for a while. And then I owned another agency again, which we exited in late 2019 before I started BlueTuskr in early 2020. But it was really the time when I was in-house. I was at a couple different 8-figure e-commerce sellers who were all in Shopify, selling on Amazon. And what I realized was, as the only marketer in-house, I spent more time trying to get contractors and other agencies to actually talk to each other and work together than actually doing my own job. So what I realized was, there'd be great if there was a full service agency out there. However, the biggest problem was when you looked at full service, it was typically you were getting X amount of hours of a generalist who, all respect to them, but basically they knew a little about a lot. And what I wanted was the expertise of these certain agencies and these certain contractors, but to all work together. And so what I realized was by bringing them all in-house and keeping them all working together, it kind of really helps us develop this full marketing agency approach where we can actually execute on full marketing strategies as opposed to just kind of one-off things here and there. And then on the other side of it, the last place I was at in-house, we actually ended up getting flagged from Amazon just for changing out our credit card. And a majority of that business was on Amazon at the time. And the problem was they completely shut us down for like 2 or 3 weeks in Q4. So I was in a huge panic that I was going to lose my job. And I realized like being solely responsible and just focusing on Amazon was not a smart move. So what I started doing along with building out the agency was developing these more omni-channel approaches where we're actually pivoting the marketing directly to a Shopify site or to Amazon or to doing what we can to kind of integrate the both of them so that we can make sure we're focusing on the businesses as a whole as opposed to each individual sales channel separately.
Now, why do you think it's a good idea for Shopify sellers to leverage marketplaces like Amazon and Walmart? I mean, I talk a lot with my book of merchants and saying, hey, channel expansion is important, but it's also a little bit of rented land. But on the flip side, though, having your own dedicated store, building an email list and building a brand, I guess there's two sides of this coin. So I just would love to have your input about like why you believe that maybe a marketplace could be a good channel expansion opportunity.
I have a love-hate relationship with Amazon. I think that is absolutely 100% a necessary evil. I think that every business should diversify, and specifically for Shopify sellers, you really need to be in every place that you possibly can be where your customer is. So whether that's Amazon or Walmart, or maybe it's on Chewy or eBay or Wayfair, like there's a ton of them out there. And being solely reliant on one sales channel is a very siloed way of thinking. But at the end of the day, if you want to really build a big business around everything that you're doing, you need to make sure that you've fully diversified and you're everywhere that your customer is, especially when you start to think about, if someone's going to actually exit a business. As you mentioned, the biggest stuff you can think about is like, your email list and your how much website traffic you're getting, your social media following. Those are all additional assets that people look at when they go to acquire you. But then at the same time, they think about, okay, how many impressions is your brand getting across everything, right? So if you're in retail, that's one thing. But from an e-commerce perspective, how much traffic are you getting in your website? But how much are you getting on Amazon? How much are you getting on Walmart? And to me, if you leverage all of those marketplaces as a customer acquisition channel to introduce your brand to people that are on those platforms, that is the best thing that you can do because it keeps your customer acquisition cost relatively low because you're still getting the sale out of it. So basically, if you use these platforms as a customer acquisition channel and you get them and make sure that you're still providing them the best service you can, you get them to come back to your website, it will actually help the overall business grow over time. And assuming you're going to exit one day, make your value go way through the roof.
Well, we're all aware about the fact that AI is probably the top trending keyword. I went to Google Trends this morning and had a look, and it's like, the top 3 for 2023. So it's obviously massively popular. It's on a lot of people's minds right now. And I guess my question to you is like, have you started leveraging kind of any AI tools? Like, do you have any best practices or any workflows that you're finding some success with?
Yeah. It's funny. I've turned AI into a fun drinking game. Every time someone brings it up, I get to have a drink. And because we're recording this on a Friday, I appreciate you letting me start early today. So yes, we are leveraging AI. We use it sparingly. There's a lot of pros and cons to it. Everyone thinks that AI is this end all be all and people are going to start losing their jobs and blah, blah. And it's just absolutely not true, especially with where AI stands now. We leverage AI a pretty good amount for a lot of the SEO strategies that we use. AI is a great tool to help speed up keyword research. It's a great tool to help the writing process. Let's say from a blog perspective, which is primarily where we use a lot of it, it really helps speed up the research side of things and it helps speed up the actual physical writing. but you still have to go back and make sure that it's structured correctly. You've got to make sure that you've got your internal links, your outbound links. You've got all the necessary H tags, H2, H3, H4, that kind of stuff, bullet points. You've got to add an anchor text. Like there's so much structure behind it. So assuming that it takes, originally, let's say years ago, took 5 to 6 hours to write a really good blog post that was of a decent size, we've probably cut that down to like 3 or 4 hours. So it's really great from that perspective. And then depending on how complicated you want to get with some of the imagery, sometimes we'll get some AI created images that we'll use in that aspect as well. Outside of SEO though, we use it very sparingly on a design side. We use it a little bit from like a CRO side to kind of give us some extra information and just make immediate quick changes. But to me, AI is a lot like automated paid advertising. There's certain aspects of it where it's great. But if you let it run and you let it do its own thing, it's going to take you in a direction that you did not want. You're always going to know your customer better than anyone else. You're going to know your business better than anyone else in which direction you want it to go in. So leveraging AI a little bit too much can be very, very risky. But to me, the best practices are using AI sparingly and then cross-referencing everything that you're using it for just to make sure that everything that's coming out is clean. And then obviously it's all accurate, because that's the biggest thing is you really don't want to hurt your brand by putting out a bunch of fake information or really poorly done imagery that you didn't actually do any real work behind and actually study what was needed for your customer.
I talk about competition a lot on the show, and there's a lot of other marketing companies that are certainly available to Shopify merchants. You can do a quick search in the Shopify kind of partners directory or the Plus certified kind of agency partners. And there's some notable peers in there for sure. But how have you been able to kind of cut through some of that noise and differentiate yourself?
Oh, yeah. So our biggest differentiator, which honestly, I still haven't come across anyone that does what we do. Basically, our biggest thing that separates us out really is that we are full service, but we're not full service in the term of we've got, hey, you're paying us X retainer, so here's X amount of hours from 3 people. We actually do it more from a strategic side of things, where if we decide based on the initial conversations and based on the marketing plan that's mapped out, hey, we really need to be focused on, your Google ads, your SEO, and from a social media standpoint, we want to do a little bit of Instagram. We really want to focus on TikTok. That requires like 8 different people, and they're all experts in their own field. So the social team has to get involved, but then the design team needs to get involved to oversee the creative that's going out from a social perspective. The research team needs to get involved to help out the SEO team as well as the paid ads team. So really, instead of getting a handful of hours from like 2 or 3 people, you're getting a handful of hours from people that are experts in this field. So I almost see us as like an agency of agencies, because we really treat each individual department almost as if it was its own agency. But our account strategists work together with making sure that everyone is working in one area on a cohesive strategy. That tends to be the biggest thing. However, for those sellers that are also on other channels, our biggest differentiator is we know Amazon and Walmart and Wayfair and Chewy inside and out as if we've been doing it since they started. But we also know off marketplace marketing and how to leverage driving people to a website or driving people to Amazon or Walmart, et cetera, and developing these omnichannel strategies. We're one of only a handful of Amazon Buy with Prime partners. So we actually develop a lot of these omnichannel strategies where we drive traffic to the website, they convert on Buy with Prime, and then we decide, okay, now we've got this segmented audience of Amazon sellers. Do we want to send them to Amazon when we do a product launch, or do we want to send them to the website, or do we want to send them to Walmart? Or there's 10 different ways that you can segment out that audience and really leverage all the data that you're getting from that benefit. So just to kind of bring that all together, really our biggest differentiator is we're like having a ton of expert agencies working in one roof, all under the same marketing plan, as well as developing omnichannel strategies for what I believe most e-commerce sellers should be doing, which is selling on their own website as well as multiple marketplaces to diversify themselves.
Today's episode is sponsored by our friends over at Tidio. It's TIDIO.com, and they're the highest rated live chat software on Shopify. Literally, you can increase your customer satisfaction and sales with personalized shopping experiences. You can learn a lot more by heading on over to Tidio.com/fastlane, and you can start right away with a premium version. It's exclusively available on a special discount for eCommerce Fastlane listeners. You can check them out there, tdo.com/Fastlane, and use the promo code Fastlane. Now, Andrew, we all love stories, and I believe a story really can educate and inspire others to take action. So can you maybe share a story or a case study of a recent Shopify business that you've worked with? I just would love to uncover what specifically motivated them from their current process of their marketing strategy of some sort or not, and then becoming a customer and how you were able maybe to improve efficiencies or drive more revenue.
Yeah, the one I'm most proud of is actually one that's a case study we haven't published yet, but we're wrapping it up now. And the reason we're most proud of it is because it's one of the more recent times that we've really done an entire concept from the ground up. So we work with someone who is a very, very large Amazon seller. Like, I believe 2023 this year, they'll probably clear almost 40 million. But their website has been something that they've worked on, and it's obviously contributed to a lot of that, but it's not near what Amazon is. And when we met them a couple of years ago, their biggest issue was they wanted to rebrand. So we actually went through a whole process of market research for a new name, as well as, obviously the domain's available and that kind of stuff. But then we had to develop a new logo and go through the whole branding concept. Which was super fun. But then we got into okay, now we need to build an entire new website. And then we implemented all of the marketing. So we run everything for them. We do their paid advertising, their social media, their influencer marketing, their affiliate marketing, their email marketing, their CRO. I'm sure I'm missing something else. We really truly are their outsourced marketing department. But the thing that worked really well with them is because they are so successful on Amazon, they obviously don't want to take away from their bread and butter. So we've developed an omnichannel approach. We've implemented the Amazon Buy with Prime button on their website. And we've developed these different marketing strategies where when they do product launches, on Amazon, you've got a 60 to 90 day some odd, they call it just a honeymoon period where your organic ranking is better than it probably will be because they want to give you the opportunity to actually showcase the product. And so we take that full list of people who shop with them on Buy with Prime and do some kind of incentive to send them directly to Amazon. And so it actually really helps them get traction on new products on Amazon. But then for everyone else, we just pivot them back to going to the website so we can get really good traction for the new product on their website. So we really developed this strategy where we can just kind of move their audience wherever we need them to go based on what the business needs are at that time. And so far, year to date, they're on track to do, I think the website itself should do probably 4 times what it did last year. Their social media following has just about tripled. Their email list has almost doubled. Their conversion rate is, if I gave you a percentage, it would sound like a joke, but because conversion rates are interesting. But last year, they were at a 1.5. I think they're up to a 4 point something percent right now, last I looked. So it's just a fantastic case study. And really the only reason we haven't released it yet is because we're trying to figure out how do we make this not sound like we're lying, but it's done really well. And it's just been really cool to see the concept of the agency as what we wanted it to be, which is this outsourced marketing department really come to fruition by working with this client who has really just let us do everything, but also develop these omni-channel strategies that have helped them grow not only on their own website, but on Amazon as well.
So what does the future look like for BlueTuskr? Can you maybe share your North Star for the remainder of this year and then into 2024? End of the day, how are you going to continue to innovate and assist with these Shopify-powered brands?
Oh, man. So in the near future, we just invested an arm and a leg into a much more robust reporting system that allows us to really bring all that information into one place. So obviously, I've mentioned 10 times about the omnichannel approach. Reporting on all of those different channels and all of your different marketing channels in one place is a chore. So we've actually partnered with a couple different reporting companies that are allowing us to bring all of that data into one place, because a lot of the tests that we'll do, which I'm sure you're familiar with, if we increase, let's say, Facebook advertising spend by 20%, we might see an increase of revenue on the website by an equal amount of, let's say, 15%, but then we'll also see another increase on Amazon because, the customer journey is fluid. So judging all that is a nightmare because attribution is such a process. So allowing us to put all this reporting in one place really lets us like super focus on like what's actually working and what's not. We've also done a lot of work now with the Buy with Prime team. So we're really investing heavily in CRO so that all of the marketing initiatives that are being put into place, we can make sure that a Shopify website is converting as well as it should be. Down the line, we're looking into right now, some of the most immediate things are we're possibly going to be acquiring studios. So where we can actually create our own photographs or videography or something like that. Right now, it's definitely a limited capability of ours. So down probably in 2024, that's an area we're going into where we're going to be able to help create more raw content as well.
Well, Andrew, we are nearing the end of the show for today, but like what are one or two kind of important takeaways that you would like our audience to keep in mind?
Oh man, diversify your business. Being solely reliant on one channel is not smart. From a marketing perspective, though, that's not always the case. You definitely want to diversify and be on as many channels as possible. However, you need to really make sure that you're nailing one of those channels before you move on to another one. That would definitely be one of them. And then I think that the way that I kind of see everything, years ago we had Walmart and Kmart and Target, and then everyone kind of got all up in arms and they were like, no, ignore these conglomerates, go back to shopping mom and pop. The internet happened and then Amazon popped up and everyone's like, oh, Amazon's awesome. And slowly but surely, I'm seeing these people are like, no, I'm not working with Amazon anymore, or I'm going to these individual websites, or I'm going to these really like specific marketplaces. And so because of all that, the customer is shopping in so many different areas. So really tracking the overall sales of your business as each individual channel doesn't make sense. You almost want to track it across the board. So I'm a big proponent of treating your business as a whole, as opposed to really like siloing your Shopify business versus your Amazon business versus your Walmart business. Because when you start doing marketing, now that attribution is very complicated, really the customer journey is so fluid that they can shop anywhere and everywhere that they want. So you just need to be anywhere and everywhere that your customer is, and then do what you can to track from a marketing perspective, at least, what are you spending? What are you getting out of it? And then break it down from there as to, okay, which channels do we want to push more and which ones do we want to push less?
I know we spoke offline before recording today, and I understand that you would like to extend a special offer to eCommerce Fastlane listeners. Apparently, you have a really cool, the Ultimate eCommerce Marketing Report Bundle. I know you want to offer a really special deal for those listening today. So can you share some of those details?
Yep, happy to. So on our website, if you go to BlueTuskr.com, there's no E in Tuskr, by the way, so it's Tuskr. And you go to, I believe it's under the solutions page, you'll see our e-commerce marketing reports. Basically, there's 10 different reports there that we use all the time. We even have an Amazon listing spreadsheet thing on there, but we've got our CRO audit on there. We have how we track SEO and content. We've got social stuff. We've got paid stuff. We've got the business as a whole where you can track everything in one place. There's just a ton of different, basically reports that we've got in one area that you can leverage to kind of track everything yourself. And there's also instructions on how to use them. We sell them on our site, but to be honest, I'd rather just give them away. So if everyone wants to, all your listeners want to email me, Andrew@BlueTuskr.com, just let me know that you want the marketing reports and I will send them your way.
Well, thanks, Andrew, for joining me today and sharing BlueTuskr and how you and the team really are specializing in both on and off marketplace marketing. With BFCM literally around the corner, I believe today's education, it really is an exciting time. And there's a lot of actionable takeaways from this particular episode. So the links are also available in the show notes for the Ultimate e-commerce Marketing Report Bundle. Thanks so much for that offer. It's incredible. It'll be in the show notes. It'll be at ecommercefastlane.com/BlueTuskr. You can get all the details there. Once again, Andrew, thanks again for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of eCommerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.